Hello and welcome back. I am glad to see you again, and I'm happy that you're back. After the last video, I wasn't sure whether you'd come back or not. Anyway, today, this is our third video. We're going to talk about the blockchain. The blockchain. And if you don't already know, I should introduce myself. My name's Bobby, and I'm an NFT. So, in actual fact, I live on the blockchain. That's where I live. If you haven't seen me before, if you go back to video 1, where I explain all about myself, okay? But today, video 3, we're going to talk about my home, the blockchain. But before we do that, I just want to ask your opinion about my new clothes. What do you think about my new clothes? I thought I'd have a change. In my first 2 videos, I was kind of dressed casually. My little striped t-shirt and my jeans. So I thought, well, let's have a change. So how'd you like my red top and my jacket? It's very formal. Although my trousers are not so formal, but I don't have any formal trousers yet. I'm waiting for them to program me some. And as I've said before, my arms don't work either, so you'll have to forgive me for only moving my head, because again, I'm waiting for the upgrade for my arms so I can point at things. Anyway, before we start the blockchain, I want to introduce you to somebody. Yes, I've got a friend. They decided to program me a friend. Yes, her name is Layla. This is Layla. What do you think? It's my girlfriend. She's lovely. So, let's get on with the blockchain. So, what is a blockchain? Well, it's a block. Well, in fact, it's many blocks joined together with a chain. Seems pretty obvious to me. But here's a diagram. Have a look at this diagram and then we'll talk about it. Right. Can you remember when you bought your first car, when you bought your first house, etc.? Anything that required an official document. Let's think about getting married or buying your first house. Buying your first house will be a good example. So you had to get a lawyer, right? Or a solicitor, we say in the UK. Very expensive. And they take a long time just to justify the money they charge you. So I have a solicitor. The person that's selling the house has to have a solicitor. The 2 solicitors have to communicate with each other. And you and I do nothing. Just sit and wait. And then pay a lot of money at the end. But what if we could do this ourselves? What if all the information is available and public? I think that's what the blockchain does. It actually stores the information for us in a very secure way. So, as individuals, we could actually access our own contracts. We could exchange our own contracts. That sounds a good idea to me, because I like saving money and I like things that are not centralized. Centralized means everything goes through a particular organization or the government, for example. But the blockchain is actually decentralized, which is exciting. Well, I know it's exciting because that's where I live. I live on the blockchain. So what does a block contain? Well, a block contains a lot of information, actually. It contains the data, the information, the contract, as we've been talking. But it also contains a hash. I like hash. In fact, I like to go to Sainsbury's supermarket because they do a lovely English breakfast which has hash browns on it. My favourite. I love hash browns with bacon and egg and mushrooms and tomatoes and beans and toast and hash browns. Very nice. No, but these are different kinds of hashes. This is the kind of hash that you put on the end of words when you want to tag somebody. I think that's right. I mean, I'm only an NFT, so I don't, I'm only telling you what I know. So it contains a hash, but it also contains a hash of the previous block, which means the hash of the previous block has to be the same as the hash of this block and the next block and the block after that. So there must be a lot of hashes, a bit like Sainsbury's, really. On Saturday morning when people are having their breakfast, there's such a lot of hash browns in the kitchen. But what does a hash contain? Well, in Sainsbury's, it contains potato. But in a block, it contains data, a kind of coded data that tells you that this piece of information is the same as the previous piece of information. So the hashes have to be the same. Because if the hashes are not the same, somebody's not going to be happy. I mean, last Saturday I was in Sainsbury's and I was having my English breakfast with a nice cup of Earl Grey tea. And I noticed that the lady on the next table, she was also having an English breakfast, and her hash browns were exactly the same as my hash browns. So I guess you could say that an English breakfast is similar to a blockchain, or maybe not. Anyway, a little bit more interesting information. The first block in a blockchain, and I don't really know how you distinguish which is the first block in a blockchain, because the chain goes round and round and round, right? A bit like a chain that you would wear around your neck. Where's the beginning and where's the end? Nobody knows. But the first block in a blockchain is called a Genesis block. Genesis, like in the beginning. Isn't that the first book in the Bible? I'm not religious myself because I'm just an NFT, but I do believe that Genesis means the first, the original. And then if one block changes, the other blocks have to change in the same way, because on this blockchain there are literally millions of computers all around the world, even in Russia. Don't know whether I'm happy about that, but hey. Yes, and the blockchain goes in and out of everybody's computers. And so if somebody changes one of those blocks, there's a bit of a problem. People are not happy, especially those people who have contracts on there. So it is actually impossible to mess with people's hashes, because that would be a kind of corruption, wouldn't it? But if everybody's hash has to be the same, and then if there's one rogue hash that's changed, it's kind of, well, I think it's kind of rejected. And so it can't actually exist. I don't exist because I'm just an NFT. Anyway, let's move on to the next section. See you in a minute. So I'm going to summarize what I've said. I mean, if you've understood anything already, I'm not sure that I did. I'm not sure that I understood everything, but I shall watch myself a few times just to make sure it's sinking in. But a blockchain is a secure place to store information. It's decentralized, which means it's nothing to do with the government. Because at the moment, who would want to trust any government, especially with your money? So it can be used for lots of things. Things like medical records, for example. That'd be great because we could access our medical records at any time, whenever we want, and nobody can change them. Taxes. I hate that word. Taxes. That's the money they take off you. The government takes it. Do you know recently the government reduced it to 19 pence in the pound in the UK? Everybody got, well, they didn't get very excited because I spoke to a few people and they said that 1 penny in the pound is not going to make very much difference. It won't even pay my TV license. But to make things worse, a week later, that silly woman that we have in government, what's her name? Teresa somebody. No, that was the other one. The other silly one. I can't remember her name. That's how important she is. But a week later, she changed her mind and put it back to 20 pence in the pound. Not that I care. I mean, I don't care for two reasons. The first reason is I'm an NFT and I don't have a job anyway. And I don't really need money because I don't exist. And anyway, 1 pence wouldn't have made any difference. I couldn't have paid my TV license with 1 pence. 1 pence in the pound. Useless. And also any other records you care to think of, you know, the documents for your car, your birth certificate, your wedding certificate, your death certificate. It's just a place to store things that is decentralized. I like that word, decentralized. And I think that's the most important thing to remember. It's decentralized, away from that government that keeps changing every week. Anyway, I hope I gave you a general idea. Probably didn't, but I hope you know a little bit more, even if it is only a little bit more about a blockchain. Just remember, it's a place to store things, and it's nought to do with the government. All right. See you next time. I'm going to see my girlfriend, Layla. She's great. Because I was lonely, you know, and I said to the programmers in the office, I said, look, it's not much fun standing here on my own. Not existing is one thing, but not existing alone is another. And so they agreed. They agreed to make me a non-existent girlfriend. And so it's great because we can non-exist together. See you again. Bye. Just before I go, just one last reminder, if you wouldn't mind. It would help me a great deal because I don't have the use of my arms. Please click the subscribe button. Thank you. I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for watching. Now, if you are ready to start learning English with the professionals, why not continue and buy this course? Remember, this short course is one of many we have made for you. So, check out our other courses. If this course is too difficult for you, then buy our first course. If it's too easy, then move forward and buy the next number up from this one.